Hello, welcome to our live today. We're going to be doing a winter solstice ceremony. The winter solstice isn't until Sunday, but this is like a pre ceremony to help us prepare, to help us go within and see what we need. I'm going to give people a little more time to join, but I invite you to grab a journal, water, anything that feels supportive for you to start with. I'm also facilitating this on Zoom. This is the first time I do both. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share the energy, to share support, to share space and time together. Yeah, I have my water here. Yeah, I'll just wait a couple more minutes to get started. I'm going to share our check-in question to start with. While you're here, I'll just keep repeating it. 1 second. Let me go ahead and type it. Hi, Maya.
Hi, so
Welcome.
thank you. How are you today? I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this ceremony, this
Me
session.
too. I got dinner done early,
I'm
so that
glad.
was good. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. You're gonna start the recording on Zoom.
Recording in progress.
Okay, beautiful. For checking question for today, it's more like an invitation to check in to see what's already there. So I invite us to start with just notice. If it helps you to go within to start with a breath, I invite you to do that. Maybe a deep inhale and exhale. And just notice what's here. What are you arriving with? What emotions, sensations, thoughts, ideas are already here with you, joining us also as guests. I like to envision emotions, sensations as guests that visit us from time to time. Sometimes I even picture them sitting next to me. If that visual helps you, I invite you to imagine that, to envision that. And just noticing who's here, what's here in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. I feel like a message that has been coming for like a week now is to remind us of our very natural connection, our body and our mind, even if sometimes we feel like we're disconnected, like sensing for the things that you do where you have to connect, there has to be a connection. If we weren't connected, our mind and our bodies, we wouldn't be here. And also reminding us that our minds, our brains are part of our bodies. I feel like in Western society, sometimes they're separated. And I see some of the intentions for that, but I also feel like it's helpful to remember that it's all part of us. Our energy is part of us, our spirit, our mind, our body. So I invite us to tune into those parts today, to see, like I said, what's already there, what's becoming present as we turn anywhere. Just arriving into the session, just arriving into this moment together. And to help us go even deeper, I am going to play my medicine drum for us. Yeah, just to provide for more support, for more focus, I invite you to focus on the sound of the drum. You can even sense for the vibration of the drum. Let's go ahead and do that. Continue to take deep breaths, whatever it feels supportive for you. Noticing what's here now. After connecting to the drum, after settling in a little more into this moment together. What is here now? Welcoming visuals, sensations, feelings of guidance. Tuning in towards ourselves, towards our inner wisdom, treating our body and its sensations and expressions as a wise oracle. Being care of ourselves, I invite you to provide yourself with any form of touch that feels supportive, hugging yourself, hugging your heart space, abdomen, your face. Being with ourselves, taking a pause. I'm someone who's usually always swaying, always walking, moving my leg. And that really suits me. But I also find that when we practice stillness, there's a different type of medicine. When we're very slow and you can try to be as still as possible. Again, as still as possible. It doesn't have to be 100% still. As still as possible. It's like different messages or clarity that arises from that. There's medicine in the movement, there's medicine in the stillness, and in this moment, I invite us to tap into the medicine in the stillness, the wisdom in the stillness. You might still feel the movement of our breath, and that's okay. I'm going to pause and not say anything for about 2 minutes so that you can be with yourself even more. You want to continue to be still, of course, continue to be still. You want to move again. And I'm curious as to how about what for you to be still or to be silent? At least I wasn't talking anymore or I wasn't playing my drum. Again, I feel like there's medicine in everything and there's different ways to connect this in. And like I said, I'm one to usually help people connect through movement. But since we are celebrating, honoring winter solstice today, I invite us to do more towards that stillness, towards that pause. Now I invite us to do a visualization with our eyes open. And I invite us to look around our space. We're just being curious. We're not judging our space, okay? Being curious, just looking around. Try to look around almost like if this was the first time you're in the space. And notice different colors, different shapes, different figures on the ceiling, the wall, the floor that maybe you haven't seen before. And I invite you to sense for what's moving and for what's still in your space. For me, I have a little fan going. I think I always want the energy moving around, and that's moving like two little felt birds that I have tied to it. My doggies are in front of me and they're breathing, they're napping, and they're moving. My lamp in front of me appears to be still, but it is on, so I feel like there has to be some sort of movement to make the light be on, even if I can't see it. Yes. I have like a wall calendar, and that appears to be still as I'm shifting, moving around the table. Moves a little. Yeah, I'm just noticing. Now I invite you to look for anything that is alive, and that is based on your own definition of what's alive and what isn't. Because I know in different cultures, even items are alive, right? Even especially items that are very special to us and we add energy to them. So maybe everything's alive. Maybe everything feels alive for you. Or maybe you want to focus on like the more obvious, like for example, for me, a very obvious form of life. Obviously my doggies. There's also water and my ancestor altar and flowers. That feels very alive. The altar in general feels very alive. There's like plants, there's this plant behind me. And then so you notice that I also invite you to notice or what's death or dying or decaying in your space. So I notice even with the flowers in the altar, most of them are pretty like perked up and look pretty lively, and some of them are already like wilting, they're decaying. I have an art piece that I've shown before that says the end is near and so is the beginning. And I used different forms of nature. I used leaves, I used cempasúchil. When I created it first, well, the plants were already plucked. So I felt like they were still alive, even though they were. But then they started to dry up even more. So now they're like completely dry. So it has been continuously decaying over time because this art piece is about 2 years now, 2 years old now. I feel pretty alive, even sensing for your own aliveness. I have different art pieces. I usually add some sort of art component to the art that I create. I'll show you more. so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so for example, this one, it has like forestry, it has a feather, it has some shells, and then it has this lavender and rosemary bundle. And this art piece is probably like 2.5 years old. There's also pieces of blue corn kernels, and I feel like this piece feels very alive because it's art. But if you were to look at it, yeah, art, some of the nature components look more deaf or decaying or dry. Yeah, if you look around and just inviting both energies or acknowledging both energies even help. There's room and time and space for movement, for aliveness. There's room and time and space for death, for stillness, and sensing even if we time travel a little and look, I want to say behind, but I almost want to just say next. Next to us, our year, our experiences that we have already lived, sensing for the pace of that in the past year, and now sensing for the pace now, and even sensing for the pace that we want to embody into this winter season. Acknowledging that unfortunately this colonial capitalistic society gears more towards the fast, towards the hustle, towards the busy, towards the movement, and not movement like the movement I was talking about, right? Not like movement medicine where we're like connecting and moving with intention. More like movement that tires our bodies and our minds out because it's past our capacity. The sensing for that, and now sensing or making space for slowness, for stillness. Taking a deep breath to make even more space. You want to open up your arms or any other movement or pose that feels spacious to embody that intention of making more space for slowing down, for stillness, for rest, for releasing, for death, for cold. And notice what comes up as I say these words. I know for me, some of the words I feel like they naturally gear more towards feeling negative for me, and I'm actively trying to neutralize them. I'm actively trying to see depth, hold, stillness, slow, at least a neutral standpoint, and trying to gear more towards, like the appreciation, the positive, especially with death. As a death worker, I feel like that has been an ongoing journey from being somebody that was raised in the Catholic Church and honestly growing up very afraid of death because it meant potentially hell, potentially horrible things, to now being a death worker and holding space for others to plan and prepare for their deaths and also just feel more at peace, at ease with the idea of death. Yeah, it's an active effort to try to neutralize these terms. So, yeah, just notice anything that comes. Remember to drink water if you have water. Okay, I do have a candle. I'm really enjoying working with candles lately. So, I invite you to sense for the intention that's already there. We're still going to do some other prompts to go even deeper into our wisdom, but just with the intention that's already here. What do you desire? What and how do you desire to experience winter season? And even honoring our past seasons. If you look at the Gregorian, through the lens of the Gregorian calendar, honoring our past winter, our spring, our summer, we're still technically in fall, and now sensing for that winter coming up very soon. This Sunday, the winter solstice, the darkest day of the year. And asking for his candle, for his fire medicine to help warm up and energy with our intentions. It is always going to take a while to be done, but I'll tend to it and take care of it as the day continues. Holding our intentions together, taking a deep breath as I light the candle. I might need to even look at the fire. Paying attention to the fire. There's still going to be warmth available, even in the winter, whether it's from fire medicine, from blankets, hopefully from hugs, from loved ones, in the sun, even if there's less of it. I set the intention for this candle to be a physical representation of that reminder of our tools, our supports. I'm going to place it right here in front of me. I invite you now, if you have a journal, if you want to write things down, pick them up. Make sure that you have one. If not, it's okay. I'm going to write it as a meditation that you could either visualize and meditate or write or both. Whatever feels good for you, this is your practice. Okay. Whenever you feel ready, going to put any words again. Now that we're more boundaries. And connecting to our inner wisdom. And that inner wisdom can be anything for you. A wisdom that exists within you. That can be wisdom from your body, from your mind, from your heart, from your spirit, from your ancestors, from your spirit guides, from the divine. Whatever that means for you. And let's take a deep breath in, take a notes. And out, take a hum. One more time in. And out. Continuing to breathe at your own pace. Settling into your body. Feeling that breath, that inhale, that exhale. Feeling yourself planted, supported by the surface that you're on. Whether that's a chair, a couch, a bed, and even feeling supported by the surface of your space, by the ground, and beneath the earth. And calling in with the next inhale, calling in the roots of the earth to connect to our feet or any part of our body. Sometimes I like to envision my hands, my belly button, my heart. Sometimes if I need a lot of grounding, I envision all over my body. It's a gentle connection. It's a nurturing connection. to the earth, reminding us that we are nature. We're not separate from it. We are nature. Sensing for that connection with the earth. Keeping you grounded in your intention, grounded in your body, grounded in your lightness. And I invite you to close your eyes and open up to sense for any visuals, any memories. Again, treating ourselves as the oracle. Just like when we pull oracle cards, we get a visual that's very physical. I invite us to practice today with sensing with our eyes closed for a visual that can guide us. And I know sometimes when I close my eyes, I see different colors, different shapes. And then sometimes I can also see different types of visuals that just appear. If you're new at practicing this, that's okay. It's like with everything, it's a practice. Don't feel that you're doing it wrong if you can't see something other than shapes. Even notice the shapes and the colors. Maybe that's the oracle for you today, and that's okay. I just want us to practice connecting to this inner guidance that exists within us. Just general message, like what we do when we pull oracle cards or tarot cards. Just noticing what's there. And then now, giving our consciousness a prompt. And the prompt to get curious about is, what do I need to feel secluded this winter season? What do I need to feel secluded this winter season? Say it with me, whisper it, say it out loud in your mind. What do I need to feel supported this winter season? And sensing for any emotions and visuals that show up, or writing it down. I'm going to give us a few minutes to explore that invitation to gain that insight as to what we need. May I allow you to just write it down or receive it as it is. You don't have to make sense of it. I know sometimes when we're meditating and we're gaining insight, receiving insight, you might receive things that feel like they don't make sense. That's okay. Maybe they'll make sense tomorrow or eventually. Just receiving them as is. And now I invite you to notice if there's any hesitations coming up from this request of support from your being. Any hesitations when it comes to the winter season in general? Anything that feels like constricted? Like maybe it's feels like it's going to be difficult? Anything that feels like that, just noticing. And if you're not experiencing that, that's cool. You just take a few breaths. And if you are, just noticing again, we're not trying to be judgmental towards ourselves. We're trying to be curious. unspeakably passionate and patient with ourselves. I know in the past for me, there have been a lot of hesitations when it comes to the winter season. I grew up in Arizona slash Mexico in a border town. And first of all, it's always hot there. Yes, it gets cooler in the winter, and during the nighttime it is cold. But during the day, you can usually just wear a short sleeve. It's like a couple weeks in the year where you actually need like a jacket where I'm from. So yeah, it's very hot, and also the time doesn't change there. So we have more of a gradual transition into the winter. Um, yeah. So I feel like it was more until I moved away from home. Um, and I lived in places that had like a drastic time change where it does get cold, where it does get gloomy, that I started experiencing seasonal depression around the winter. Um, and it's come through also looking back and realizing that it's because I felt like I just had to continue at the same pace and I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to stop enough to be with my emotions, enough to pause and go within. It's been more of the recent years that I'm learning to enjoy winter again. Um, so that's why I bring up just noticing any hesitations, just allowing for me to express any fears, any anxieties, any hesitations. I feel like sometimes we might not want to make room for those expressions, but it is through making room for them and space for them that they'll be expressed and then they'll be on their way. Again, with that visual of a guest, when you have a guest and then you spend time together and they say everything they have to say, you said everything you had to say, you already did the activity that you're going to do together, and now they're on their way. And you will come back again or a different version of them. You can tend to that then. But in this moment, just being with any emotions, expressions, sensations coming up regarding the supports that you need and regarding winter season. And once again, taking breaths and opening up our arms for any pose, any movement that feels spacious for you. To make room to allow for a perception, a belief in which it is okay for you to have needs, for you to want supports, and to open up to the belief and idea that you can receive those supports this winter season and that it can go. I think that the word that's coming up is better, but this winter season doesn't have to be better than the last. It's more like going through it in a more supportive way, in a more supported way, in a way that feels easier. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. More ease, easier, in an easier way. Just sensing for that. And now for our next prompt. What do you hope to experience this winter season? Again, searching for any visuals, any ideas, any feelings. What comes up when I say that, when I ask that? What do you want to experience this winter season? Did you know that you have a say? Did you know that you have power over your reality to write things down and to allow that to happen? I know I say it with my little smirk, with my little laugh, because I'm saying it to myself too. I forget sometimes that I have a say, that I can be like, oh, this is what I want to experience today. This is what I want to experience this week. This is what I want to experience this season. what comes up when I ask that? What do you want to experience this winter season? Are there certain activities that you want to do? Certain people that you want to spend the season with? Certain places? What do you envision yourself being? What do you envision yourself doing? What is there? What is there for you? What desires? Ideas? And again, you're just being curious. You're being curious, and I invite us to try to meet our needs, our desires as best as we can. For example, if you're getting the need to rest all day and you feel like that's not doable based on your lifestyle, the things you need to do, if your body's asking, if your being's asking for a full day of rest and you feel like you can't genuinely give that, can you give half a day? Can you give 2 hours? How can you best advocate for your needs and meet your needs? Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're building this connection with ourselves, with our beings, honoring our capacity in a way that honors us and not colonialism and not capitalism. We gotta meet ourselves where we're at. I feel like it doesn't serve us to have an expectation that things are going to change completely from one day to another. They could, but also that's not the only way that it can happen. Again, where can you meet yourself in the middle, where you don't shut down to the needs that are coming up because maybe they feel too big, but you try to meet it the best way that you can. Continuing to take deep breaths and just sensing for anything else. Coming up. And I'm just going to give us the next 5 minutes to either be with ourselves if we're just practicing meditation and visualization, taking a breaths, feeling our bodies, opening up to any other visuals, or if you are journaling today or writing, just opening up to free writing, anything else that wants to come up for you. I'm going to play a little music as we do that, and we'll do it for the next 5 minutes. And just seeing what else comes up and just spending more time with ourselves, more presence in the minute. Continue to take deep breaths. Write down, yeah, anything that feels supportive, anything that feels like it can be like a sweet reminder of this session and these intentions and energies and expressions that you held today. Mm, I'm going to pull an oracle card for us. I'm really enjoying the animal spirit oracle deck, so I'm going to use it again. Um, yeah, and I laid out my cards. I usually shuffle them, but I just felt like laying them all out. So I'll do that. So calling in the animal spirit that wants to support us today with our intentions for the winter season, that wants to honor us with their presence. I invite you to call them in with me with a deep breath. Okay, it's Rabbit. I invite you to notice what stands out from the image, what you feel as we see this rabbit energy, spirit. For me, the color red stands out. It's very cute. I really like its pose. It's like, and then it makes me wonder what it's looking towards. It's looking towards the distance on the side, and its ears are up, so it makes me wonder if it heard something. And the message that comes up is that it's interesting that we get this card because the way I think of rabbits, they're always jumping, right? But in this image, it looks very stationary, and I feel like it's like a synchronicity of what we've been talking about today, of being go 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 all year and learning and practicing pause and slowing down in the fall, in the winter now. We're still gonna be the little rabbit. We're still gonna, be able to jump around when we need to, even in the season. But like, we'll still get to have our little spring and summer again with more energy, with more jumping. But for now, we can be more of this stationary little fella. Let me sense book for what else I feel, and I invite you to do the same to figure out your own interpretation for it. What messages are coming through for you as you connect to this rabbit energy? Feel free to write it down and share if you'd like. Let me sense for anything else that this rabbit wants to share with us. Mm. Mm. It's sharing with me about survival, about how for rabbits that live in places that snows, survival isn't guaranteed. They're not guaranteed to make it to the spring season. It depends on what resources they have, right? How they can keep themselves warm, um, the foods that they find, where they can keep cover. And that's very natural for them in their life. And I'm sure they might still experience, fear, or if they find like a really good place and really good food, they might experience like relief, right? But it's also like they know this. They know this is the nature of their being in this lifetime on Earth, that this is how they live. And it's almost like showing us like how as humans our survival is more guaranteed. And I know some of us have different means, different resources than others. But as humans, we have created these structures where we can live and we are like safe from the snow. It doesn't snow where I'm at, but the snow or the wind or the elements, right? And it's almost like it's telling us, like, y'all have it so good. Enjoy it. Enjoy the warm soups. Enjoy the food that you have. And also remember that it's not just you. Like, we are also animals. We're also supposed to share resources and ask help from one another. So I invite us to do that. I invite us, if when I'm saying these things, um, yeah, maybe you're like, well, I don't have those resources actually. I invite us to center that again, that collective energy that we are supposed to help each other and that it is okay to ask for help. And I hope that we can embody that this winter, sharing our warmth, sharing our food, sharing our homes, our shelter, support with one another so that we can make it through. And our survival is guaranteed, hopefully, to another season. That we can make it to the spring season, that we can see the blossoming of the flowers again. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're still barely going into winter season, and there's also medicine and beauty in that. Yeah, that's the medicine of this rabbit energy that can support us throughout this winter season. Oh, let me read your comment. Wow. Okay. To be curious when something disturbs your rest or peace, let it be creative and sweet. Engagement, not hidden fear. Also, we are adorable, always. Even when we're wearing the same socks for days because it's too cold to change them. I feel that. Or even when we don't shower for a couple days. I know for me, like, I need to shower when the sun is out. Sometimes if I didn't make it, like, and it's nighttime, it's like, I'm gonna try again tomorrow because it's way too cold. And we're still precious and we're still adorable. We just gotta be patient and compassionate and loving with ourselves. We're just trying our best. We are very precious creatures, just trying our best. Just like this little rabbit, just trying our best. There's no judgment. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to share anything else. If you want to share anything else about your intentions, this experience, any questions, anything else you noticed. Drink water. A lot about balancing rest when eating to feeling inspired about spring. Mm, mm-hmm. A lot of balance, huh? Yeah, I feel like it's an ongoing practice for me. That balance. Because I feel like even now I feel pretty excited about things that I want to create. And a part of me is like, no, you're not supposed to create in the winter. You're supposed to rest. But I am learning to balance it. I am learning to rest and then not feel like the creativity has to be an expectation. I feel like that's the difference. That's the difference that I'm learning. It doesn't have to be expected for me to create and do in the winter. But if I feel like it, then that's different. I'll do it. But not because capitalism is telling me to. It's different. And then you're saying, I feel like there was so much shedding this year. And next year feels like it already has momentum. Yeah. It's already there. But Capricorn Mars has us like, let's set ourselves up slowly for the kind of winter inner work so we are ready. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that affirmation from the cosmos. That invitation. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to continue to watch our candle. Um, this is the first time that I get a candle this size. I feel like I usually get either the tea lights, um, the thinner, colorful ones, or the 7-day candles. And I never know. People are like 7-day candles, and sometimes it's done in 2 days, sometimes it's done in like 10 days. So for however long this fire wants to join us, I will be with it and tend to it. So thank you for joining today. I look forward to continuing to connect in this space. This is the last live session of the year, but I look forward to coming back in January for more somatic support, spiritual support, for more practices together. Okay. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye bye.
Recording stopped.